It's here, folks. The Zino 2. Finally got it. Pretty quickly, too, might I add, directly from Hubsan. Stick around. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of Parks and Tech. You're probably wondering where I've been. Well, I ended up just taking some time off here, and to be perfectly honest with you, this was not going to be my first video back. My first video was originally going to be the PowerEgg X, but unfortunately I ran into some issues with that, and it was deemed defective, and now it's going to actually have to go back to PowerVision, and then they're going to be replacing it. So anyhow, this is not about the PowerEgg X or the defect that it has, but this is about the Zino 2. It's here, and we got it. So this is actually Hubsan's version of a Firmware kit. It comes with a case and the extra battery, extra props, things like that. I gotta hand it to him. This case is really nice. It's very nicely built, very strong, very sturdy. Yeah, I'm quite impressed with it, to be honest with you. So, real quick, let's go on ahead and zip it open and see what we have inside. So, first things first, we're greeted with the actual Hubsan Zino itself. Here it is. We'll just set that aside temporarily. Over on the right-hand side, we have our new transmitter that has the little screen in it as well. So, overall, same design in terms of the phone holder. We have our user manual. And then there's another level down here. This is where our spare battery is. And it looks like it does have a little bit of juice. Looks like we have two extra full set of props here. So that's nice. Our prop tool screwdriver as well. So that's there. Here is our charging brick. Looks like it's a PA4? PAN4? Can't tell. Doesn't matter. Power supply, so it's definitely not a Hubsan power supply. Looks to be a generic supply. What else we have in here? So it looks like we have a micro USB cable as well, just in case you want to hook that up to your computer. And of course we have our connection cables that will use the that will be used to hook up the phone to the transmitter itself. Then we have our charging adapter as well. So what will happen here is this will plug into here. This will obviously plug into the wall. And then this ends up actually clipping onto the battery to charge it. So there is only one way. You could tell when I first tried to put this on, it won't let you. So there is only one correct way to put this on and to charge it. So that's a good thing. Can't mess it up. But it looks like that is actually everything that that comes in the case. And again, it is a very nice case. Get a quick look at that as well. These little mesh pockets on the side for carrying whatever you want. So nicely done, Hubsan. Nicely done. So again, that's basically everything that you get inside of the Hubsan's version of the Firmware kit. The only thing that is additional in this versus the regular one is that you get this extra battery and you get the extra set of props and the case. Everything else is the same. So the first battery is actually already installed in the quad itself. Let's take a quick look at the transmitter itself. So we do have the LCD screen up here at the top, which I think is really nice. We'll see how well that works in the indirect sunlight. Apparently it does work pretty well, so a little spoiler alert, I guess. But we are missing our thumbsticks there. They're actually hidden down here, so You kind of like a DJI transmitter there. You can just take out the thumb screws and screw them in there. Well, that's of course if I can get them out of here. There we go. Okay, so what you also see here on the front is very simple, 3 buttons. You have your return to home button, your power button, and then of course you have some different modes that you can put it in as well. But other than that, nothing really under here, at least that we can see. There is a little pin port here. We're kind of going back to, looks like some of the pins. Looks like there's 4 pins underneath there. Excuse me, I apologize. There's 5 pins sticking out on there. I'm sure you guys remember the original Zino transmitter had those pins that you had to pinch together to jump to do updates. I hope that's obviously not the case for this. At least I would hope not. Maybe that's a backup way. But you're supposed to be able to do everything through the app, so we'll find out. Overall, the joysticks feel nice. They're pretty tight, to be honest with you. So they do feel good. There's not really going to be able to slide around if you're just putting light pressure on the sticks, so they do feel pretty nice. Has some pretty big, thick antenna here as well. Got some Hubsan branding, some ventilation. Not exactly sure what the FN button does, but we also here have the video button to start video recording, and our camera button to take pictures, and then we have our gimbal control wheel as well. But there you have it, folks. Nothing really on the bottom other than some venting. I can definitely say this, that it is very well built. It does, has a little bit of weight to it. It doesn't feel like it is a cheap toy transmitter, so it does look like a little bit of an upgrade for sure, at least compared to other Zino transmitters. So good job there in terms of making this feel like a nice transmitter. Again, it kind of still has this location down here for your phone. I don't really like that too much, but, what are you going to do? To each their own. I have a plan for that, so that's good. Okay, guys, so let's go ahead and just go over some quick specs here of the Hubsan Zino 2. It comes in at a whopping 700 grams, so it is definitely a little bit on the heavier side, at least compared to some other quads out there. They do say it gets roughly about 32 minutes of flight time, which you're not going to get. So I would probably expect more, so I'd be happy with anywhere between 25 to 30 minutes in terms of overall flight time. Max speed. In movie mode, you're getting about 1 meter per second, normal mode 12 meters per second, and in sport mode, you're getting a whopping 20 meters per second, which is roughly about a little bit more than 44.5 miles per hour. So she's definitely quite speedy for sure. 12 megapixel camera, capable of doing 4K at up to 60 frames per second. Of course, can also do 30 frames per second, 2.7K in 30 or 60 frames per second, 1080p in 30, 60, or 120 frames per second, and 720p in 30, 60, 120, and even 200 frames per second. So you can get some slow motion video there too. Don't know how good that's going to be, but we're going to take a look at it too. The camera itself has 100 megabits per second in terms of a bit rate, which means that we're going to get a crisper, clearer image, so that's a good thing. Transmission distance, we're looking at about 8 kilometers is, of course, what is advertised. Who knows if we're even going to get that. Don't know why we'd even want to go out 8 kilometers. I mean, that is technically outside of line of sight anyway, but, to each their own, I guess. Again, battery is 3800 milliamp hours. One thing that I'm really going to be looking forward to in terms of the camera as well in testing is going to be its low light capability. So apparently this can do some pretty decent low light shots. So, in those types of shots, we'll look for noise and we'll look for blurriness, things like that. All right, so let's go ahead and take a closer look at the Zino 2 itself. So here's the top. You got the Hubsan Zino 2 branding. You got your little prop protectors there as well that come straight from the manufacturer. They're just cardboard, so we'll tear those off in a minute. But let's go ahead and get this unfolded. All right, so there she is unfolded in all its beauty and glory. So, as we mentioned before, it's just the Hubsan Zino 2 branding up at the top. You do have a little vent here where it's kind of raised here in the roof as well. Raise the roof. Where it's vented. On the back, you can see little Hubsan branding as well. On the left-hand side of the quad, we have a little plastic cover here. If we remove that, that's where your micro SD card goes, and also where you will plug it into your computer if you choose to plug it in the computer for any reason at all. You can also see some cooling vents on the side as well. See the cooling vents for the motors too. Here she is in the front. You got your protective plastic gimbal cover. This is just a black piece of plastic. That's all that is. That is nothing fancy. That is not an obstacle avoidance sensor. Maybe they plan on using this body for another model, something like that, upgraded, where they might put something there, but there is no obstacle avoidance on this quadcopter. While we're taking a look at the front, let's go ahead and pop this gimbal cover off, and it just pops off. So we have our detachable camera gimbal unit. It is 4K at 60 frames per second. You can, of course, adjust that as well into some higher frame rates with some lower resolutions too. But there's the camera itself. Let's take a look at the right-hand side. Over here, we just have some cooling vents. Nothing really else to see on the bottom. We have our optical flow sensor. We have our battery indicator light. Looks like there's 2 bars in this battery. There's more in the spare battery. We also have our time of flight sensors as well to hopefully keep this bad boy nice and stable. As you can see as well, the battery actually connects from the bottom, so you can see the arrows. I'm gonna have to slide these forward, and this pops out to have that battery removed or replaced. Taking a closer look at this battery, it's a 3800 milliamp hour battery, 15.2 volts, and it is supposed to be a much quote-unquote smarter battery. So then this will end up just getting popped back in there. So you want to load it in here from the back first, and then it snaps down into place. So while you guys are getting a nice good look at it, let's pop these protective covers off. You can see that one actually went flying on its own. But again, there she is in all her glory. So while we're thinking about it, I'm going to go ahead and also pop my 128 gig SanDisk Extreme micro SD card into there as well. So this is how it will go in. Make sure that the actual teeth go up, and it just snaps into place just like that. All in all, the Zino 2 really does feel like a very well built quadcopter. It doesn't feel cheap. It doesn't feel cheaply made. It does have some nice weight to it as well. Now, of course, it is a little bit lighter, of course, without the battery, but still, all in all, it does still feel very well made. It actually reminds me a lot of the Fimi X8 at least in terms of build quality. Here's the moment of truth. I'm going to turn on the Zino and the transmitter and try to do a connection here for the very first time. We'll go ahead and do the updates, do everything that we need to do. But again, this is the very first time that I'm going to be powering this up, so I have no idea what to expect. Hopefully we have FPV, hopefully everything works and binds correctly, and so forth. We'll wait and see what happens. So let's go ahead and get this bad boy powered up. Press and hold. You can hear that fan kick on there. Let's go ahead and get the transmitter turned on. Press and hold. While we're waiting for that to connect, I'm going ahead and get the app open here and just about ready. Alright, so it looks like we are connected. So I'm going to go on ahead and connect my phone. Now, again, I am using an Android. I do have a Note 9 phone, so that is what I'm going to be using to do this test, just for the record. Okay, so immediately here, it's Gracie, immediately here it is asking me for a compass calibration, and then it also is asking me for a firmware upgrade as well. So let's get rid of the compass calibration prompt. Now obviously we should be doing this outside, but I'm going to do it inside just to get rid of the prompt, and I can just barely see it behind there. Of course, before I take this off for the first time, I'm absolutely going to be doing that again, because that really wasn't a real one. You shouldn't really be doing it inside anyway. So let's go ahead and tap the upgrade button. So as you guys can see, I mean, we do have some FPV here. I think that's the biggest thing to note as of right now. So new remote firmware can be used, please update. So again, let's tap upgrade. Upgrade the remote control. Please turn off the aircraft first. Okay, so then press and hold. Download the firmware files for the transmitter. Tap upgrade. As you guys can see, even though it does still say on number 2, it says 100%, you can see down at the bottom that it was still counting what said upgrading firmware, so it was writing it. There we go. And now the upgrade is complete. Please manually restart the transmitter. So I will press and hold to turn off. I'm going to actually disconnect the phone from the transmitter. And let's go ahead and power back on the quadcopter. We will power back on the transmitter. Waiting until it gets a bind. Okay, it's got itself a bind. I'm going to plug in my phone. Okay. Okay, and there we are. We have FPV. Now it seemed as though it only was asking for a transmitter update. I did not do any other type of firmware update or anything like that. So I'm very curious here. So let's go ahead and go into the settings. Go into version. And there it is not forcing me to upgrade, but I'm going to go ahead and do that. You can see the controller is 1.1.1. Aircraft currently says V factory. So let's fingers crossed, folks. Fingers crossed. Looks like we're going to be upgrading to version 1.1.8, which apparently is the magic one that breaks everybody's. Okay, so it has successfully downloaded the firmware files. So let's go ahead and tap upgrade. You can see the backlights on the quad are flashing. You can see down here at the bottom of the screen it says upgrading IT, and then you can actually kind of see exactly how much, I don't know if that's time or if that's, well, obviously that's not time, but in terms of data, I'm sure that has something to do with how much data is being transferred and or upgraded. So while this is upgrading, before upgrading, please keep the phone connected to the transmitter. Please make sure the transmitter is fully charged during the upgrade process. Please do not unplug the USB cable. Please make sure that the app stays in the foreground. Pay attention. This update optimizes the firmware upgrade and the probability that camera parameters cannot be switched. If any update issues are normal, please contact our Hubsan service personnel to guide you. I think they mean instead of normal, abnormal, but regardless. Me being the rebel that I am, I did not listen to step number 1, so I might have a problem here. I just let the transmitter charge what I thought was halfway before I started this, but apparently that is what is beeping at me, telling me that it is on a low battery. So fingers crossed here. It does say it is at 91% now in terms of upgrading, so hopefully we're still going to be okay. Fingers crossed, guys. Okay, it does say upgrade is complete. Please manually restart the transmitter. So it does say manually restart the transmitter. Turn off the transmitter. Let's go on ahead and turn it back on. It is giving me that low battery warning, but I just want to make sure that it's successfully upgraded here. Well, guys and girls, it looks like we have FPV on our screen. Let's go ahead and make sure that this did update. We are on aircraft 1.1.8 controller version 1.1.1, and it looks like we still have FPV. Alright guys, so I'm not going to but I'm not going to make you listen to this battery beeping anymore. But let's get the battery.
USB disconnected.
There we go. I'm not going to have you guys listen to that transmitter beep anymore because of the low battery, but it does appear to be working just fine. Just as one final test here, I'm going to turn off the quadcopter. I'm going to unplug this from my phone. And I'm sorry, but as one more test, you're going to have to hear that annoying beep on the transmitter one more time for low battery. So I'm going to turn this back on. We're just going to make sure it powers up. And we're going to make sure that we get our FPV on our phone. So again, I do have this disconnected, as you can see, from my phone while I'm starting it up. It does say low battery. Hopefully there's enough again just to reconnect and rebind to the quadcopter itself. And then hopefully we still get our FPV on the screen. Okay, so let's quickly do this. Optical flow signal quality is poor. Please fly carefully. Well, that's because you're on a cloth table. It looks like, again, guys and girls, that it is working. You can see I have FPV. Again, I'm going to show you version 1.1.8, controller version 1.1. Everything seems to be in order. Well, folks, there you have it. The Hubsan Zino 2. This was just a very quick look, very quick setup. I had no problems. The firmware upgrade process went very quick. Now, again, that is with my model. That is not to say that, you might have problems with yours, because you might. You just never know. It seems like some of these, every model might be a little bit different to some extent. But again, you saw the upgrade process. You saw it come on. You saw it update. It even updated with a low battery in the transmitter. I'll be honest, I was getting a little nervous there, but everything seemed to work out just fine. I ended up still having FPV on my phone screen, which is great. So no problems there. I did turn everything off and then booted everything back on there, as you could see in the end, just to make sure that it's still bound and that I still had FPV and everything worked just fine. So again, guys, this was just a very quick first look and a quick hands-on with the Hubsan Zino 2. I'm not going to be doing any flying with it today. Maybe tomorrow, because today's Saturday. It is sunny out right now, but it is very cold. So I'm not going to go out there and freeze my butt off and freeze my Zino 2 up as well. So. But anyhow, I really appreciate you guys watching. If you do like this video, please make sure you hit that thumbs up button, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I'm going to be doing a lot of different tests and videos with the Hubsan Zino 2. This was just the first of many. So again, just a very quick unboxing setup. I want you guys to see it in real time as I saw it as well. I was very nervous, and my fingers were crossed, specifically when I made a little bonehead move in terms of the transmitter with the battery. So make sure you charge it up the whole way before you do it. That way you won't have to worry like I did. But again, it did seem to go fine. So again, really appreciate you guys watching, taking the time out of your day to see what's up with my Hubsan Zino 2, but it looks like we're going to be good to go. So the next video I'm going to be doing is an outdoor video, probably just in my backyard, just to get things going, and do a little flight around there just to get used to the controls, see how it handles, see how it flies, and then of course we'll wind up taking it a couple different places too, including the abandoned golf course, which is now actually being turned into a park, a little nature reserve. So, but anyhow, again, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll catch you in the next one.